Bizarre Brain Comics. Hello, my comic book friends, and welcome to Bizarre Brain Comics. I am Gary, your host. And this is where I like to take a look at some older comics, talk a little bit about the characters and creators, and examine the stories and the art. And hey, how would you like to take a look at a few unconventional books? Not your regular comics or graphic novels? Ooh. And I may have shown one or two of these in another context before. I'm not sure. I know I have at least one, but here, we're going to take a look. But first, I'll show you my books. My new one, Bizarre Brain Comics Presents Heroes. And my first one is Bizarre Brain Comics Anthology. Both available from Amazon. To get this one, Heroes, you have to go to, because I don't understand their reasoning here. Go look up this one, Bizarre Brain Comics Anthology. Scroll down to Series, click on Series, and then this one will come up. Or they're both also available on individually on Barnes & Noble's online store, and can be gotten through thrift books as well. And I would appreciate everybody who has gotten some. About my book. Remember, this is more mainstream. Has some superheroes, some horror, some weird sci-fi type stuff. Okay, here we go. Looking at these books, these are all from one of my bookshelves. And but we're going to start off with Europe. Yeah, here is Volume 1 originally from 1960. Asterix the Gaul. Now, there's a whole series of Asterix books. These are from Belgium, originally in French. And there's a word describing, kind of like manga for Japanese stuff. There's a word for these, but I can't remember what it is. Some unpronounceable French thing. And and these are real big all over Europe. This is Asterix the Gaul by Goscinny and Uderzo. And this is, of course, English. This is, the English version is from 1969. And it's just some wonderful artwork and real fun stories. And it's just amazing how truly consistent and nice the artwork has been over decades. And this is the first in the line, but there have been a whole bunch of them. And this particular copy is a hardback, and I also have it in trade paperback. This is a much later printing, Asterix the Gaul, but with a different publisher as well, I think. Different publisher, and it's damaged. I hadn't noticed that before. And this lists at least 25 titles, Asterix in Belgium. And this is another copy of course, Asterix is, of course, this is, he is from a Gaulish village in Gaul during, which is modern day France, during the Roman invasion, and they have a magic potion that gives them super strength and stuff. So they keep the Romans away from their village. It's the only place they don't want to go. This is a different creative team, but still just as wonderful. This Asterix and the Picts. This is from 2013 originally, I think. And the Picts. And this is a real great one. I haven't done an in-depth on Asterix the Gaul yet, but I do intend to. I have just a few volumes of Asterix and the Picts, Asterix in America, all over the place. In Rome, okay. Then keeping it with that, this is this is one of the same creators here. This is Morrison Koskinen. Lucky Luke. I have 2 volumes here. I have a couple others elsewhere, but featuring Billy the Kid. And I did one of these. I'm not sure if it's one of these or a different volume. I can't remember now. Calamity Jane and Billy the Kid. I think it was Calamity Jane that I did a deep dive into. And they're just wonderful. And I wanted to mention also with Asterix, there's a whole series of animated movies, Asterix, based on the books. And the same goes for Lucky Luke. And there's even at least 1, if not 2, live-action Lucky Luke movies. Those were from the 70s or 80s. Those were from the 70s or 80s. I can't remember. And they are a lot of fun. And again, of course, originally from Belgium. Then I have this one. This is the only volume in this series that I've got. And this was... You can see the tags here. I got secondhand from Starblaze Graphics, but this is originally from Belgium by Michel Wayland. And this is a sword and sorcery type. I'm not sure if there's or pseudo historical. I am not sure because I still haven't read it. And this is from 1986. Some really nice artwork, swords, fighting, and story, and nice on the costumes and stuff. And the artwork reminds me of kind of a mashup of Frank Thorne and Pat Boyette. But this is Aria. Aria Takes Off. And I take it this is the first one in this series. I'm not positive. And I still have some really lovely stuff, and I've got to read this one of these days. I kind of had it buried away. Then we come back to the US of A, to the 1940s, with Milton KF's Terry and the Pirates. I have 3 volumes right here, number 11, 13, and 16. I do have a couple more, I think, out in the garage, but these were handy inside here. From 1940, 41, and 42. And of course, Milton KF. This was, Terry and the Pirates was one of the biggest, most popular comic strips, American comic strips of all time, but especially at this time in the 40s. Now, I've covered Milton KF before. I haven't done deep dive into it with Terry and the Pirates, but I have Steve Canyon and Mail Call, because he did that Mail Call strip for the for military papers, and that was the first Milton KF thing that I showed. He has some great draftsmanship, some great adventures. You can see his artwork is a little dark in some places here because they were originally colored on the Sundays here like that. But he was known as like a Rembrandt of comics. Some great detail. This is also when they were reproduced much larger, and on the paper then they could show more of the detail, and some great adventures. Now, Milton KF started with Dickie Dare. He was doing adventure strip Dickie Dare, and then he moved over to Terry and the Pirates, which was basically Dickie Dare with in the Orient with an adult, and then after Terry and the Pirates, they had all kinds of adventures during the war years, and I did. Then he moved on to Steve Canyon, which was basically Pat from Terry and the Pirates without Terry. So, and of course, and then he did. Milton KF did Steve Canyon up until the time of his death. Then this is number 13. And these are from Flying Buttress, Classic Library. And just all, as I said, Milton KF, was just a wonderful artist, so influential in comics across the board. So many other cartoonists in the comic strips and comic books copied his style, and some of them, like Frank Robbins and stuff, had been assistants of his. Here's volume 16, Rouge. And they were known for not just adventure, but they had a greater degree of violence in them than one would see in comic strips today, newspaper comic strips, if they still had real adventure comic strips. Okay, and that's it for Terry and the Pirates, but still keeping with America, but getting to some real publishers, comic book publishers. Here is Marvel Monsters. This is a hardback edition, reprinting a mini-series that they had done, which featured some new monster stories, often including their superheroes, and also featuring some of the classic monster stories monsters from the Atlas Marvel monster comics from the 60s and 50s, 60s, and 70s. But it also reprinted some of those classic stories here. I was a slave of the living Hulk. They used the Hulk name and the Hulk origin many times in those books. And here's one where monsters dwell. And this is one made to look like the printing and everything of those older comics, but of course it's not. And they often were done somewhat tongue-in-cheek. But it was a lot of fun. I'm a big fan of the monster stories, and even these, as well as the classic ones. And I wish they would still do them. Fin Fang 4. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Homage to using Fin Fang Foom in homage to the Fantastic Four cover. Fin Fang 4. That's the monsters together. and various writers and artists in this. And of course, Fin Fang Foom and some other was a classic monster from the Monster comics. He made a second appearance, and then he came back as a villain. I think it was an Iron Man villain, but I'm not positive. And originally popped up so many times. And that's just a whole lot of fun there with that. Then we have Marvel Westerns. And of course, I love the Westerns. And Marvel Westerns. And here is also Marvel Westerns. Hardback. Which reprinting the Marvel Westerns miniseries, which was a lot like the Monster series. They did used some of their classic characters with new Western stories, and also featured some reprints of some of the classic Western stories, like the Rawhide Kid. And these are Two Gun Kid, Mighty Marvel Westerns featuring Two Gun Kid. And this is when he's teamed up with She-Hulk. This is when he was in the 20th century, when he bopped it, because he teamed up with the Avengers a couple of times on their time travels, and then he came back to at that time the 20th century, and was with the Avengers for a little while before going back to his own time. And again, here's another classic Rawhide Kid story. Western Legends. This is Red Wolf. And it says Red Wolf, Man from Fort Wrangell, which is an original story, and Hurricane, which I think is The Man Called Hurricane, which I think is also a new original Western story. And these are a lot of fun. Even the new ones on it. I really like this one because this is the one I had showed because I have the floppy comic of this Kid Colt and the Arizona Girl, and I showed it in context with another one. This is one that had a western town that had been taken over by Skrulls. It fit in with this kind of fit in with the Secret Wars. Not Secret Wars, but Skrull Invasion or Secret Invasion, whatever the title was when they had the Skrulls were invading. And again, while all the reprints are all Rawhide Kid, I'd like to have seen more than just Rawhide Kid. There were so many others. And that of course is a lot of fun. Then I have gone into detail on Mighty Samson. I have many of the old floppy comics. But then here's the Dark Horse Archives, Mighty Samson Volume 1. So this is the Frank Thorne art, because he was a co-creator with these marvelous. And now I've forgotten the cover artist. Before it was. This one was George Wilson. Oh, could not think of his name. And but I had another one before George Wilson, and I can't remember his name. That might have been. But this is the Frank Thorne artwork. Before he moved on to other things and passed the torch to some other artists. But he had some really great Frank Thorne adventure artwork. And this is then he was at DC doing some Western stuff, and even Korok, Son of Tarzan. Before he back at Marvel, he really gained fame doing Red Sonja. So that's all that I've got for you this time. A whole bunch of really great comics from different parts of the world and different eras, and also magnificent artwork and fun stories. So I want to thank you for joining me. Please like, share, and subscribe. And do leave a comment which if any of these that you would like to see more of. Now, I might do a more deep dive into them. And or if you have any questions about these, about anything else, anything that I may or may not be able to answer. We'll see. And I do always remind you to remember that comics are art.